I should have been a farmer with a hoe on my back. But the system said I was a legendary hero and can kill the Demon King. But I just want to stay in the newbie village and live the rural life I wanted. But the gears of fate have already begun to turn. The devil finally came to me. Not long ago, I was just an ordinary office worker. My only pleasure was watching short videos on my way to work and watching rural idyllic life. I just sighed casually. I really envy this kind of life. But the next moment, I was transported to this world full of monsters. But under the guidance of the system, I gradually learned survival skills and finally lived the rural life I wanted. The system kept urging me to leave the novice village, learn swordsmanship and magic skills to destroy the demon lord. But it seemed that it could do nothing but pop up windows. So I still farmed and hunted regardless. Until one day, the system finally crashed and disappeared. Without the system's disturbance, I worked harder with my hoe. One day, over the newbie village, an uninvited guest suddenly appeared, and the visitor was the demon lord Elizabeth. 18 years ago, the demon lord launched a war against all races. With the power of the demon lord, the kingdoms of all races were also breached. With the infighting and rebellion of the human race also declared defeat. Thus, the demon lord Elizabeth officially ascended to the throne. She became the only king in the world. In the human kingdom, Barrow still believes that the legendary hero would defeat the devil. But the next second, he was slapped in the face by the demon's lackey, Wes. But just as Weiss was about to solve him, but was stopped by the great demon queen Elizabeth. Humble human, you'd better explain to me what the legendary hero is all about. Otherwise, I have 1,000 ways to make you suffer more than death. It turned out that Balu heard that someone in the future saw the legendary hero and pulled out the holy sword, and the legendary hero will also lead humans to end the rule of demons. But if the legendary hero wants to challenge the demon lord, he must pull out the Excalibur inserted in the hall. The demon king thought things were getting more interesting. So he waited in the human capital, waiting for the legendary hero to arrive. But he waited for 18 years. During the 18 years of the female demon lord's rule, all races lived and worked in peace and contentment, making the land of heroes prosperous. There was even an anti-hero alliance, opposing the arrival of the hero. Even Barrow, who previously opposed the demon lord, also became the minion of the demon king. But in the next moment, the devil's claws came. Under the powerful pressure, he vomited all the river sewage he drank. You'd better explain to me. Where is the legendary hero? Barrow was frightened by this sudden scene, was scared into a cold sweat, but he stammered and couldn't explain anything. But at this moment, another sycophant, Wes, flattered him, but was slapped on the iron plate the next moment. The demon lord's tail slapped him directly, and then threw Barrow out, and hit the wall heavily. I have reached the top of the world, know the world's best. I didn't wait for him to challenge me, and then become a stepping stone for his fame. If you don't come to challenge me, I will come to you. Then he held the hilt of the holy sword. Everyone was shocked by this scene, and then a terrifying energy burst out. This energy also made the Demon King feel a little sweat. Then, with a loud shout from the Demon Lord, a more terrifying energy also swept over. Then the Demon King pulled out the Excalibur that only the legendary hero can pull out. The Demon King looked at the holy sword in his hand. He couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Who said only the legendary hero can pull it out? Suddenly, he felt consciousness from the sword. Then, the consciousness directly locked on the newbie village. Seeing this scene, Elizabeth was overjoyed. So you're hiding here. The next second, she directly activated the teleportation array and disappeared from everyone's sight. Meanwhile, on the other side, I was looking at the fruits of my day's labor. I couldn't help but sigh the beauty of life. But the originally sunny sky suddenly thundered and dark clouds. Then, Elizabeth slowly emerged from the thunderstorm. Elizabeth looked down at me with a slight smile on her lips. But at this moment, I ran towards home in a flash. I quickly picked up the dried fish hanging in the yard. But this is my pet, Wang Kai shouted loudly towards the sky. And I was also attracted by his abnormal behavior. I looked up to the sky. I saw a human-shaped shadow floating in the air. Seeing my slow reaction, Elizabeth couldn't help but doubt my so-called identity as a legendary hero. But just in case I was pretending to be a pig and eat a tiger, she decided to verify it. A golden light suddenly attacked me. I, who had never practiced magic skills, I was so scared that I raised my hands subconsciously and closed my eyes. Unexpectedly, the incoming beam actually turned a 360-degree bend, and the holy sword appeared in my hand. Seeing that I was recognized by the holy sword, Elizabeth, I couldn't help but feel that things were getting more interesting. Because under his perception, I was a novice without any magic. But the recognition of the Alpha Sword is correct. Elizabeth immediately said she would kill me. But my Wang Kai stood up to oppose it first. He would protect me. I looked at the terrifying formation in the air. I was relying on my dog. I immediately chose to drop the holy sword in my hand. I immediately ran to the room without stopping. I was just a rookie. If the devil comes to me, I could only accept my fate. So in the end, let me and this family be wiped out together. I didn't expect that the smile I gave just now was interpreted by Elizabeth as a contemptuous smile. This immediately made Elizabeth furious. This is really an arrogant guy. Die! Then 3 huge stones fell from the sky, which would surely crush the hut into pieces. And used. Wang Kai made a precise calculation of this and immediately entered combat mode and poured out the weapons in his hand. The powerful firepower easily knocked down the incoming boulder. At this time, Elizabeth couldn't help but show a playful smile. But then she looked fearless again and cast the magic of destruction. A giant ball of light appeared in the sky, and thunder rumbled again. The huge energy, enough to wipe out everything around. But Wang Kai's code kept jumping in his eyes, and soon calculated it again, and made an attacking gesture. It opened its small mouth and spat out a small black ball, and flew towards the Demon Queen Elizabeth rapidly. But it just dodged with a slight flash and dodged Wang Kai's attack. The Demon King thought it was just a dog and made a dying struggle. But the little black ball hit the magic behind him. In an instant, the little black ball exploded in all directions, surrounded by the doomsday magic. The next second, it actually swallowed it. The sky suddenly cleared up. The devil frowned tightly. The once invincible magic of destruction now was easily broken by a dog. It's unimaginable how powerful the man in the room was. What the Demon King didn't expect was that I was already lying on the bed obediently to accept the judgment of fate. The devil looked down at Wang Kai and fell into deep thought. Unexpectedly, from beginning to end, he had always been underestimated. But then the murderous intent appeared in his eyes. But don't be too complacent. After all, I haven't used my full strength so far. Now, you, this rude person, I will show you what true terror is. Under the powerful pressure of momentum, Wang Kai also switched to combat mode again, ready to fight. And then there was another violent collision. The energy burst, illuminating the entire sky with colorful light. I don't know how long it passed. I woke up groggy and longed for everything in the house. I was instantly confused. Why am I still alive? Shouldn't I have gone to heaven in the secret passage? I opened the door carefully, looked out. I saw the devil was already bloodthirsty, holding Wang Kai's head tightly in his hand. And there was a sizzling current around. Elizabeth threw it down and walked towards me slowly. I'm really sorry. I have completely destroyed the mold. Completely destroyed. Hearing this, I felt like a needle in a haystack. I quickly explained that it didn't matter. I hope we can have a good talk. Elizabeth said yes, but only after I kill you. However, before she finished speaking, her body began to wobble, like everyone else. As a gentleman, I held her in my arms, but the unconscious demon lord could no longer maintain his horns, and even his armor began to slowly dissipate. I was in the prime of my life. I was at a loss for a moment. I longed for her flawless body, and a hot stream gushed out the next moment. I don't know how long it passed. The devil suddenly opened his eyes. He never thought that he was invincible. But now he lost so embarrassingly. He looked at the handcuffs behind him. Did he want to imprison the king? And show the world, to show her power. Elizabeth kept concentrating her magic on the handcuffs. But the handcuffs remained motionless. So it seems that this is a legendary mold she has never seen before. I was holding dumplings and hot soup and pushed the door open. Elizabeth looked at me. She was immediately beautiful. Kill me if you want. Don't even think I'll bow my head to you. But I was shocked. This devil is really terrifying, but this is my only chance to survive. I must seize it. I immediately explained to him that the handcuffs were just in case. After all, you know your own terrifying power. And there must be some misunderstanding between us. Otherwise, I'll unlock the handcuffs for you. Let's have a good talk. As a woman, Elizabeth understood it in a different way. You think you're something, but you're just a nobody. In fact, you are just a little punk. Elizabeth took what I just said as a threat. During the conversation, I had already opened the handcuffs in her hand and I showed her again that I had no ill intentions.